All right, race fans. CSP number 2, Cat4 Crit, 2023. Average speed 25.3. That's up almost a whole mile per hour from last week, the first week. Power 232 watts, but normalized power 291. I sat out with my teammates at the beginning of this one to try and do a lead out for folks and see what I could do. At this point in the series, I was feeling pretty good after the first week. Had gotten dropped all of last season, pretty much, and sent it on the week 1. So week 2, I wanted to see what I could do, if I could get a lead out for anybody, and if I had waited, I probably could have maybe been in the mix for the win here on this one, but wasn't trying to be a winner, just trying to see what I could do. So that's that. So what I learned my new 1 minute max power with this new fitness. I also learned that the old kung fu movie Patience Grasshopper statement there, that definitely comes into play. If I had waited, I think I could have maybe gotten an early season win here, or at least top 5. So we'll get into the footage now. And it's just towards the first lap here, and the end of it, coming in the front. And I'm actually really happy with how well I've been sticking in the pack and drafting this race. You can see my heart rate's at 153. That's easy zone 2 all day long. Here I'm just doing 0 watts, going 34 miles an hour, coming down. This is just after the start finish, going into lap 2. And I see it starts to get a little strung out there on the front. And so after I come around this turn, I'm like, oh, okay. We're starting to move. Get a little, and I don't want to be this far back. I'm too far back, so I give it some juice going up this hill. And I go up the inside, and I see people sitting up. I give it 500 watts, but I move up. We're moving up 10 spots. And I know that people sit up usually around this hill, going this direction. And now I'm up, 10, 15 spots. I'm in the top 10 or so riders, and I'm going to be able to slot in here on the inside because people are nice. That's really what it is. I can stay on this, but, they're really not taking this turn too aggressive. We're just starting, we're halfway through lap 2 at this point, essentially. I need to slot back in a little bit sooner. Still doing too many watts, but heart rate's at 175, and now I've got my position. And I'm going to be able to sit in here in the top 15 or so riders, and I'm up here with a couple of my teammates, and we're just going to be able to sit in and start to relax. Wattage coming down. I'm not doing a great job holding the wheel, but I made a good, important move early in the race to get back towards the front. All right, so jumping forward a little bit here, we're coming into end of lap 3, first preem lap, and I know that I don't want to do a ton of work in the sprint, but I've got to maintain a good position. I take this inside line up this last turn to get into the start finish straight, and don't have to do a ton of work. I'm maintaining my speed. I know others are going to start to slow down that don't want to go for the preem, and they're coasting. I'm coasting, doing a little bit on that end, just using my momentum in my favor. I know I'm not sitting on a wheel, but I'm not going to chase. That's the important part here. I'm going to let others come around me, and I'm going to let them do the work. And I'm just going to sit on their wheel, but being at the front allows me to get onto those wheels. If I was at the back, I'd have to do work to keep with these surges. Here I'm having to do a little bit. Again, my FTP's 270 or so at this point in the season, and I'm just going to let others pull me back. I know that the sprints, they don't continue, and this is a downhill portion. Me as a heavier rider, I get to use my momentum again and bring my heart rate back down. It would have been ideal if others came around me again, but I'm not doing any work here. This is zone 2, easy. My heart rate's dropped. It's going to drop quickly now that I'm really not doing much. And other people are going to start to pass me. No big deal. Not worried about it. So saving my energy, using my momentum, that's what I did here. I'm happy with it. And now that there are enough people in front of me, I can slot in and get the draft and just relax. And my heart rate's back down at a manageable level. All right, so finishing up lap number 4 now. And I'm going to do something I'm really happy about, coming back to it at the end of the season. Sitting in the pack, heart rate's zone 2, lower end zone 3. So I'm just relaxing. We're doing 25 or so. But I'm not liking how far back I am. And I know downhill I have a little bit more mass than everybody else. I'm going to hold a little bit more momentum, and I can just use a little bit of a push and slide up the outside. And just keep going down. I'm not really doing any work. Doing 100 watts, going 30 miles an hour downhill, just sort of soft spinning. And then Brett slides out here in front of me, and I get on his wheel. We don't want to push it, but we're just trying to get close to the front. And the guy on the front was looking back there, almost caused a little bit of a mix-up there, but nobody wants to sit on the front unless they have to. So we're coming in, going up the backside, but I should have been tighter on his wheel here, but I'm not doing too bad. Only about, a foot and a half off the wheel. Not having to work too hard though. Heart rate's at 155. But we're not going to sit on the front and do work for others. We're going to let other people come by and get on their wheels as they come by. So a little bit of a surge to get up to their speed as they come by, and then we wait for the turn because they're not going to force us onto the gravel. Nobody's trying to make anybody else crash, so we can slot into these spots as we come through the chicane up on the backside. So happy with that. Used my momentum again in my favor. Got near the front of the race. I'm sitting third wheel or so right now. Going to be able to slot in and get good protected wind. Not doing a great job, but it was a good move to get up the side. All right, about 7 laps in now, and I'm a little bit out of position going down the hill, and I'm trying to get my way to the outside to go up this, and I'm looking, I'm waiting. I'm being patient, sitting in the draft. Heart rate's now below 150, and so I give it some gas as it opens up, and I move up 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're coming up on double digit move up the side, around the outside. And didn't have to do a ton. Gave it a little bit, gave it a little push, and then used momentum in my favor. I don't want to be at the front, but I want to be close. I don't want things to get away from me. Don't want to be too far back. Always be moving up. Is an important part of crit racing. If you're not moving up, you're moving back. So happy with that. Didn't have to do a ton of work. Got a lot of spots out of it. And now I can just slot in where I want and not be threatened. I'm not going to chase back a break by myself. All right, so now coming in at lap number 9, and that's the top 5. They're going for the preem lap. I'm not interested in doing that right now. 170 heart rate. Gonna let other people close it down. Need to slot in here, do a little bit of work, just to get on a wheel. I'm not gonna let the race get away, but I'm not gonna do any work that I don't have to on this one. So I'm just sitting here, and that's that for the preem lap. But again, I'm not wanting to do extra work, and it looks like they're going to keep going. And so they're pushing through, and I don't want to do work. I don't want to close the gap. I'm going to let other people do it. If I catch them by momentum, I catch them by momentum, but I'm not going to chase. I know my role at this one is wait till the end, be in the right position at the end. And that's what I'm waiting for. So they're pushing down this hill, and I'm not trying to do too much more than just coast, get my heart rate back under control. I was at the front, but they came around through that and start to look up here, and there's a big split occurring. And this is where I'm patient. I know that brakes are unlikely to stick here. There's too much race left to have to worry about this. And I'm going to let other people come around me, and they'll close this gap down. And I can just sit in. I can just sit in and wait for others to do all the work and slot in and get a wheel. Do a little bit of work here. Push to get onto this wheel because I know that it's split at this point pretty good. But I don't want to do more than I have to. And so I'm trying to get on. I think it's Keith's wheel here. And Keith's a little slower through the turn. But I don't want to push it too hard. I don't want to do extra work. But it's getting a little bit too long in the tooth for this to be so strung out. I'm internally debating. I remember this now. I'm internally debating. Do I give it a lot and close this down, or do I wait? And they're pushing. I'm not going to sprint. I'm saving my legs. Let's see if they slow down. I'm doing a lot of extra work now, though. I know I didn't want to, but it's pretty pretty good gap. But you see that they sit up. They all sit up. Did too much work at 180 heart rate, but I'm not going to chase this back too hard. Just doing 200, low 300s watts. And to get back on a wheel, I didn't panic, and now I can sit in and recover. So a lap later, and it's all come back together now. We're all going super slow because nobody wants to do work. I think that at this point the wind had really picked up. This was into a headwind at this point. And we're going 17 miles an hour on this final stretch into the start-finish line. And I'm doing 80 RPM, pushing below threshold, wattage 16 miles per hour now, 170 heart rate, and no one wants to work. So straight into a headwind. All the preem laps are done. And we're just waiting on things to pick up. Nobody wants to do any work, but I was patient. I waited until I had enough people in front of me to get in, and I knew it would all come back together because nobody wants to push the pace, especially as the wind picks up. You can see the storm in the distance. That always plays a role here. And so, do I want to go to the front this early? I know I'm doing the lead out. I'm going to let other people do it. Somebody else is going to do it. I'm not going to chase. Not going to work. It's not going to stay away. I'm just going to coast. I'm sitting on the front, not doing any work, waiting for my heart rate to recover. 130 watts. Just waiting for somebody else to want to go chase somebody, because it's not going to be me down this hill. Said it wasn't going to be me going down the hill chasing back the guy who wanted to send it, which ended up being Gary, who joined the team and then, spoiler alert, breaks his collarbone. But I'm just going to sit in. I'm going to let somebody else sit on the front. I'm not going to do all the work, but I'm going to be close to the front to be able to pounce. Remember, I'm trying to do a lead out here today. Trying to do a lead out. I need to be positioned well to be able to do that and push. Should I have been behind his wheel a little bit better? Yes, but I know we're catching these guys in front of us, and I want to be able to have some ability to move and slot in where I want. And my heart rate's really well controlled at 166, and just don't know. This is a race experience bit where I don't know how far I can go and how long things take. When you're riding, you don't know what's a minute. Or at least I didn't at this point in the season. Figured it out a little bit later after this one, and I start to go now. And if you know this track, 1,000 watts with this much space left to go, this is a lot of work. And I come around this turn and I actually do a pedal strike right there. And pushes me a little bit wider than I wanted to. And then I send it again. I'm just trying to go as hard as I can for as long as I can. I end up doing 600 watts for a full minute here. And I'm pushing. And I'm just trying to hold. Trying to hold as much power for as long as I can. Again, 192. I guess I'm going for a new max. 193. You know, this is all out for as long as I can. It's too early, but, you know, I sent it pretty good, and I go again, 194 on the heart rate, 195. I'm like, whoa. I'm starting to see the start-finish line. I'm going. Again, I went for a lead out. I didn't lead out any teammates. In fact, I let out Luke, who then sprinted away. But I had a pretty good gap here to be able to finish like this. Top 15. You know, I think I was 9th, maybe. I have to go back and check. But, you know, I wasn't going for my own position. I was hoping somebody on my team would follow me, but I sent it. That's the race.